what's up you guys? Century Productions here, and welcome to the Watchtower series. If you're new here, this is just basically a deep dive of my toy photography. I show you how I light my setups, how I pose my figures, all that stuff. So we're starting off this episode strong with a little chessboard kind of idea with the Avengers, of course. This is, I would say, heavily inspired by Justice League of America #1. I believe it's a Silver Age comic where, you know, the characters are on the cover playing chess, so it got me thinking. I was like, oh, you know what? I bet you I could make a life-size chessboard and kind of have the characters kind of just on this little diorama, which is just construction paper, poster board, whatever you want to call it. And I thought it would look really neat, and I went ahead and made this. I just kind of cut a template out. I think this is 4x4. Actually, this might be 3x3. And I just kind of traced it and made a bunch of these black squares and then just glue sticked them onto a piece of white poster board or construction paper, whatever you want to call it. And then I just kind of placed all my figures on it in vanilla poses, except for the cap and the red skull here, which are going to be my focal point for this shot. And I think this came out really cool. I kind of shoot from this angle a lot when I'm shooting something that's a lot larger of a dio than I normally use. So I really do like this angle. I'm working with very low aperture, shutter or high shutter speed, low aperture, low ISO, because I really want this Captain America and the Red Skull to really show up clear and in focus, and everything else to be out of focus. It was, of course, a lot of fun getting to pick my characters here, who I wanted on the chessboard and the positions on the chessboard. I wanted to make sure that you could clearly see every single figure, so you might see some of the figures are leaning a little bit to the right of their chess place or chest. What is this? Their chess location. You chess players can let me know if I'm just butchering the chess terminology, but in their square, I might have them like a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, just so I can see them better in my frame, kind of like a higher angle, looking down a little bit. Like I said, it was very fun picking the characters for this. Of course, Avengers, classic Avengers. Most of these are in their classic suits. Hasbro's just been giving us so many awesome Silver Age and early Bronze Age characters from the Avengers in their original outfits. So I really wanted to do a cool shot. Like I said, this was inspired by Justice League #1. So I'm really liking how this is looking. I got a lot of lights on this setup, so I'm going to take you through all of that stuff right now. But just from standing back here, I really like how this looks. Alright, so here we have like a better look at this little chessboard I've made here. I'll kind of zoom in. That's just construction paper glue sticked on there, and I think it looks pretty nice. Of course, obviously the focal point is going to be the figures here, and the chessboard is just the little like dio scene that we're working with. You can interpret it however you would like. It's I guess this is more of a Captain America shot than anything, but I wanted to include the Avengers on there. It was also kind of fun. I got to play around with a couple of the bad guys. Of course, I went with some Avengers bad guys. Red Skull, Ultron, of course, Kang. I think the only real subjects that are going to be in focus in this shot are the Kang, the Red Skull, the Captain America, and of course the Tigra over there, which gives a nice, really cool pop of color of orange for this shot. Like I said, using all of the classic looks for these characters. Really fun to just vanilla pose them on this shot. So first light that we're using right here, this is a big soft box that's providing a lot of light. For a shot like this where I want to use a higher than normal shutter speed, I need to provide a lot of light for the shot. So I also have a little Ulanzi RGB color LED light right here that's mainly focused on the cap and the Red Skull. I've got a little light bar right here that's providing some light. We got some more lights over here. These are my E-Mart lights. This is my Viltrox light, another E-Mart light. So there's just all kinds of lights pointing at this chessboard right here. And so if you look behind the viewfinder, you can see my settings right here, and the ISO is at 100. Just gotta kind of make sure that, with how many lights I'm using, I kind of adjust my shutter speed accordingly. That way it's not oversaturated. There's not too much light, too little light. We want just the right amount of light. For this Captain America pose, I was surprised I was able to get this pose because I came up with the idea of the chessboard, but then I was like, okay, I can't just have the chessboard. I gotta have a main focal point of the shot. So I would assume both of them are pawns in this game. They kind of came across each other, and Captain America is beating Red Skull and, you know, basically taking him as a piece. It's kind of fun trying to play with which characters or which pieces. To be honest, I didn't really put too much thought into that. I did kind of, you know, think a little bit. I was like, okay, do I want Scarlet Witch as the queen, or do I want Captain Marvel as the queen? But I decided to go with She-Hulk just because, you know, the queen, that piece, is such a strong piece that I was like, I don't know, the Green Queen, it kind of just made sense to me. And, you know, that's a figure you don't really see too many people take shots of, is that A-Force set She-Hulk, which, you know, is like the classic kind of She-Hulk look for the most part. I do have the old Hasbro She-Hulk that came out way back in the day that is actually still a pretty good figure. But, of course, for, you know, Castle, I had Beast. And then for our knight, we had Falcon. Bishop was a, not the character Bishop, but for the Bishop, I had Vision, which I thought to myself, I was like, that makes sense. Vision would be a Bishop. And then hopefully people don't get mad at me that I have all these like A-list superheroes as pawns. But like I said, I didn't really put too much thought in it. But overall, I really like how this turned out. I think it's such a cool idea. I've never seen anyone do anything like this as far as toy photography. So I was having a blast making this little Dio poster board construction piece of paper, whatever you want to call it, posing all these figures around. And now I just got to clean them all up and put them all back into my display. But yeah, let's check out the shop. Alright, so I'm on the table with another Avengers type shot. This shot's actually pretty cool. If you guys remember like 3-4 episodes back, or if you're new to watching this, I guess, if you go 3-4 episodes back, I did an Incredible Hulk cover. I was kind of, you know, going through a lot of Incredible Hulk issues, reading a lot of issues. I think the Incredible Hulk, you know, with Sal Buscema and Herb Trimpe, Peter David's storytelling, I think they're just some of the best comics of the 1980s, and I was really inspired by a lot of their artwork. And this one is coming from Hulk 323. This is a particular story that I haven't personally read, but when I came across this cover, it just kind of grabbed my attention right off the bat. As you can tell by the cover, it's got Vision kind of phasing through the Hulk, but I guess in this issue, Vision is actually trapped within the Hulk. So it kind of got me thinking, how could I make it look as if the Vision was actually phasing through the Hulk? Now, the Vision phasing effect has been done several times over by a lot of talented artists in the community. I'm trying to think if I've ever done a Vision phasing shot. I don't believe I have, so I think this is the first time I've ever done it. But I was looking at that cover and I was like, I think if I took some poster board or construction paper and matched the yellows up, I think I could kind of cut out the little hood piece right here, you know, of his cloak or his cape, and his centerpiece for his chest, and the part that covers his belly. Let me go grab this Vision figure real quick so you guys can kind of get an idea. This is the retro Vision. So this bottom part right here, this bottom part right here is obviously trying to take over his, or trying to replicate his stomach or his abs right there, and then kind of some of the other pieces, if you can kind of get the idea I was going for when I was cutting those pieces out. And I didn't want to, like, you know, put too much of the Vision phasing through him. For the most part, this is pretty much replicated exactly as the cover. The only thing that I added was this cape back here. It just made sense to me that the Vision's cape, if he was floating into the Hulk or phasing into the Hulk, it would make sense that his cape was kind of floating in the wind a little bit in the back there. So you can kind of subtly see his cape through the back. I think it produces this really cool effect where you got all this stuff phasing in the front, stuff phasing in the back. Of course, I'm using the 80th anniversary Incredible Hulk from the 2-pack with the first appearance of Wolverine. I think these two figures together look really great, especially I wanted to make sure that the greens were different. More specifically, Vision's head's green is a much darker green than this Hulk's green. So there were several different Hulks that I could have went with for this shot. I, of course, went with, I believe this is the Herb Trimpe Incredible Hulk from 181, or at least the artwork from that era of comics. I really do still love this Hulk. I think it's a great representation of the Hulk. I've always really liked the shade of green that this Hulk kind of brings into the camera. Photographs really well. It's just overall, it's a really great Hulk. And it's the one that gave us this amazing Hulk buck that we've seen several times over now. So overall, I'm very happy with how this shot came out. I initially was going to kind of I was going to try to copy the cover with a blue just background, but when I set up the blue, it just didn't look right. And, you know, I wanted to add a little bit of my own flair to it. So instead of just kind of going with the plain background, I went with a Avengers mansion kind of diorama or setup right here, and I'm actually happy I did that and took the time to set all that up, even though it's only like 3 accessories I really have in here. I have the chair back there, I've got the bookshelf back there, and then of course I have this extreme set right here, which I don't really use extreme sets too much, but for a bigger kind of space that I need to take up or occupy, this mansion set from Extreme Sets works really well. Of course, I was lended this by my friend Bever Clever, who's on Instagram if you guys want to check him out. This is kind of like a collaborative kind of set piece in general. Bever Clever lent me the Extreme set. Miss Prime gifted me this bookshelf back there that came with the Bruce Wayne from, I think, the Diamond Slick Gotham figure, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think all that stuff's going to be out of focus, so it's not really that big a deal. It just looked weird with nothing back there. All right, to get a little bit closer to how all of this is kind of set up and put on the figure, you know, like I was just talking about the diorama and everything. You can see the bookshelf and the little chair. This Extreme set, which is actually a pretty big set, but as you can see, I'm only kind of using a little portion of it right here. But if we get really close to all the pieces I have on the Vision, like I said, this is just construction paper cut out and then just tacked on there. If you can see the hands, I kind of bent the little hinge upwards and put blue tack underneath that little hinge, and then just kind of angled them towards the camera so you couldn't see any of that tack. This is kind of to represent the bottom of Vision's boot. But you know, this isn't perfect. As you can tell, this little centerpiece for his abdomen area it's not perfect. There's like little black lines and everything, but you know, for a shot like this, I don't really think it needs to be perfect. I could spend a million hours trying to think of how to cover those little spots up and everything, or I could just kind of set it up, have fun, and just hope for the best and that people get the idea as far as how cool the effect is and don't really judge it too harshly on the very small details like that. Lighting, let's go over some lighting. I got my what are these? The LumeCube panel minis. They're kind of giving some side light. I got my Ulanzi right here, just giving a lot of light for Vision's face and all those little cutout pieces right there. A little bit of backlighting. If you guys watch my videos, you know I do a lot of those backlightings. I got these 2 E-Mart lights, and of course that Ulanzi garage kit that's lighting up the whole scene right here. And overall, you know, in essence, this is actually a really simple shot. Didn't take me all that long to set up the actual area, and just to come up with the you know, these little pieces to cut out. I just kind of sketched them on the poster board freehand with a pencil, and then once I realized I got all the lines right, I went back over with a fine tip Sharpie, and then I kind of knew I was going to just kind of plant these 2 hands on the Hulk's body, and I knew I was just going to plant the head over this little cloak, or the little collar portion of the cloak that I made with the construction paper. And you know, I kind of had the whole idea in my head, so I didn't really have to spend too much time thinking of how I was going to do it. I kind of knew exactly what I needed to do to get it done, and I just kind of drew it and just kind of went from there. So all in all, this probably took me about 3 hours from the concept to actually being on the table and shooting it. Let's just see how this looks real quick. You could see it, it's kind of hard to look through this viewfinder right here and see the colors and everything, but I actually desaturated this a little bit because, you know, you got the bright yellows and the bright greens from the Hulk, and I think it was actually the color was popping a little bit too much, so I kind of pulled the saturation back a little bit and the contrast back a little bit, and I just lowered my settings and everything. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm kind of gearing up for October. If you guys don't know what October is, it's basically the articulated comic book art month-long contest where there's a different theme each day, and I participated in it the last, 3 years, so I figured just for the heck of it, I might as well participate participate again in it. And it's 31 shots, 31 days. I'm not going to be spending a crazy amount of time on each of those shots. I kind of just have a very loose idea of what I want to shoot for each day. And just, I think the main thing for me at this point in my action figure photography journey is just, it's about having fun for me right now. So I think I'm just going to kind of have fun and kind of just stay simple with those. But I hope you guys liked this little episode. The reason why I mention all that is this is probably going to be the last episode before I do that whole month-long photo competition October. So you probably won't see a video on that until the end of October. So it'll probably be about a month hiatus. Last year I put up 4 different videos of October and they just, I don't know, there was just too much content. So I think I'll just spend brief time on each shot this year and just compile them into one large video at the end of the month. So stay tuned for that. Let me know below if you guys like these shots. If you have any feedback on these shots, make sure to check out my Instagram for more behind the scenes. And this is Century Productions. Thanks again. I appreciate you guys. Really, like that you guys watch these videos and stay tuned and all that good stuff. So let's check out this shot.